Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Crypto Queen Perspective. It has been a while, my friends, and today I'm super excited to be back with an amazing lady. I'm welcoming Natalia Clack from Easy Super, a leader in self-managed super funds and one of the go-to experts when it comes to SMFs and integrating digital assets. I first met Natalia at the Blockies Awards in Melbourne, where we were both nominees. And I was just so impressed by her deep understanding of how SMSFs, quite a mouthful, can empower Australians to take control of their retirement savings. So without further ado, I am going to add Natalia to the stage. Welcome, Natalia. How are you?
Hi,
It's really good
Daniela.
to
Good.
see
How
you.
are you? Thank
Yeah, I'm
you.
really well, thanks.
That's
Um,
great.
So I'm going to go into a little bit more and you can, follow on from there. But Natalia specializes in actually helping individuals set up and manage and optimize their SMSFs, including those that want to expose themselves to crypto and digital assets. So today we're going to break down the fundamentals of SMSFs, unpack how they work, and what are the requirements and the benefits, and I guess also the risks, and how Australians interested in crypto might think about incorporating into their SMSF. So let's dive in. Before I go to the first question, Natalia, would you like to give a little bit of background about how you came into this industry? I know that you're not originally from Australia, so I don't know if you want to share that with anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So I came to Australia 22 years ago. Originally, I'm from Russia, and I landed up in SMSF space. To be honest, it happened by accident. So it was one of my first jobs I managed to get in Australia as a SMSF accountant because back then no one wanted to do SMSFs. The accountants, they thought that business services and companies and individual tax returns are much, much sexier compared to SMSFs. So I ended up doing SMSFs because no one else wanted, and I've been doing it for 22 years. I also started my own company 12 years ago, and we help Australians to grow their wealth in retirement and to make sure that you're in control of your superannuation and you're in control of your future. And this is a big passion of mine. So,
Thanks for that background. So, Natalia, can you start explaining, like in very simple terms, what a self-managed super fund is, or SMSF, which I have trouble obviously wrapping my tongue around, and and how it differs from a regular super fund?
SMSF is a trust, and it stands for Self-Managed Superannuation Fund. So you manage it yourself. The industry or retail superannuation funds, they have a managers. They have a team of managers. They manage the superannuation fund, and you don't have any control. You have nothing to do apart from choosing your risk profile. You can choose if you are risky or if you're conservative, but you can't tell the managers where to invest. You can't influence or control their decisions. And this is a difference. In SMSF, you are in full control.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for explaining how that trust structure of SMSF works, um, and the responsibilities of that. So, what are the eligibility requirements? So we'll go into the requirements and the setup, but what are the eligibility requirements? And I guess the first steps that someone needs to take if they want to set up an SMSF in Australia.
First of all, you need to be in Australia. You have to be Australian tax resident. Second, you have to have superannuation, obviously. So you can check how much super you have. You can log into the ATO portal and find out about your super, or you can log into my Gov account and find out how much superannuation you have in all superannuation funds in Australia. So once you know how much you've got, you can decide if you want to set up a self-managed superannuation fund. SMSF can have up to 6 members. So it means that potentially you can set up SMSF with your partner, husband or wife, and your children as well. So it's not always recommendable to set up SMSF with your children, because children and parents very often have very different investment aspirations. However, it is possible. Like I said, up to 6 members could be in one SMSF. And once you decide, yes, you want to set up SMSF, then you need to find out how to do it. And you need to educate yourself, because at the end of the day, you will be responsible for managing your SMSF, not your accountant, not your auditor. Trustees are responsible for managing their own SMSF. And to take this responsibility seriously, you need to get yourself educated, or you need to get an expert who can educate yourself. For example, at Easy Super, we are big on education. When we set up SMSF, part of the SMSF establishment is educational workshop with myself, where I explain all the rules, everything you need to know about self-managed superannuation fund, how to manage your SMSF for the next like 20, 30, 40 years. And it's very, very important to understand how to manage your SMSF.
Absolutely. And I guess one question probably on people's minds is, what are the eligibility requirements? The minimum balance requirement, and then what is the timeline and the typical cost involved in getting an SMSF set up?
It is a great question, because there is no minimum requirement. There used to be a minimum requirement, not by law, but it was a ASIC guidance around 200,000, but there is still a misconception that you have to have at least 200,000 to set up SMSF. It's not correct. The legislation says you have to have an asset. Asset could be $1. $1 is an asset. So there is no minimum put on this definition of assets in SMSF. So, however, of course, you have to consider the costs. It's very important you understand that setting up costs, for example, we set up SMSF, it costs 3,300, and I'll tell you later on what's included in this cost. Then you will have you'll be paying outgoing costs, not you, but your SMSF will be paying outgoing compliance cost, which is between 2,500 and 3,500. So if your if your superannuation balance is very low, say you have $20,000, $30,000 in your current superannuation fund, maybe it's not the right time for you to set up SMSF. Maybe you should grow your superannuation balance before setting up SMSF. Again, without providing you financial advice, it's a common sense and financial calculations.
Yeah, thank you. I think there's some really valid points that you made there. So once someone has their SMSF set up, how does the SMSF operate? Like you mentioned that, you have to manage it yourself. Obviously there's tax, there's statements, the obligations, the compliance with the Australian Taxation Office or the ATO. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, correct. So there are two sides to it. So first is compliance side. And with the compliance, again, at Easy Super, for example, we look after your SMSF's compliance. We do tax, accounting, audit. So if you have the right specialist, it could be accountant or it could be SMSF administrator, they can look after your compliance. However, on the other side, you have to decide where to invest your superannuation and take this responsibility and risk as well. Because if you lose if you make a wrong decision and lose your superannuation, then it's on you. There is no refund. The government is not going to refund you this money. So you have to understand these risks as well. So you're in the driver's seat in regards to investing your superannuation benefits. And we are here to assist you with the compliance.
Yeah, I think they're also very valid in points because, like, when you know invest in cryptocurrency or digital assets, it's the same thing. You're in the driver's seat as well, and I think this is a good point for me to make. I usually do a disclaimer at the beginning of my
Yes, that's a good
stream,
point.
and I didn't, but anything you hear today is not financial advice, and you have to seek professional guidance. And this is for educational purposes only. So I'll keep going. um, how important do you think professional support is, like accountants, administrators, and what should people kind of look for when they're choosing those partners, Natalia?
Um, the support is extremely important because there are providers out there. There are accountants, there are financial advisors, and there are online providers. And there are providers out there who provide, I would say, very cheap service, but you get what you pay for. It means everything will be online. There is no technical support, there is no education, and you are on your own. I would say try to avoid this type of providers because we've seen it so many times at Easy Super that trustees are coming from the online providers where they didn't have any support at all. Sometimes there is no even like number they could call. And they made these mistakes, very, very expensive mistakes, where we would incur the ATO penalties because each penalty is almost $20,000. So if you do something wrong in your self-managed superannuation fund, there are potential penalties. You have to understand that as well and take responsibility. So I definitely would avoid cheap providers, cheap online providers, and I would try to find a specialist, especially like I would try to find SMSF specialist, not just a general accountant, because it's like going to GP and going to the specialist when you need some advice about your health. You go to GP for the basic things, and then you go to the specialist if you need the specialist advice about some particular part of your health. So the same with self-managed superannuation funds. I would recommend to finding a provider who does understand SMSFs deeply and have a specialty about it.
Thank you. I think yeah, all of that is valid. I guess I wanted to move on to, because obviously I'm predominantly crypto focused, so I wanted to look at SMSF and crypto. So, crypto is kind of at the top of my mind, and for most of my audience as well, for many of my community. So, how does a crypto friendly SMSF work, and what makes Easy Super different in that space?
First of all, crypto is allowed under superannuation legislation. Crypto is allowed in a self-managed superannuation fund. So this is good news, great news, right? So you can invest your superannuation in crypto, but you have to do it in a compliant way. And this is where there are a lot of accountants don't understand what the crypto is to begin with. Not like every accountant would say, oh yeah, I understand what crypto is. And the second, especially crypto in SMSF. So cryptocurrency is a complex asset. And then you have SMSF, which is a complex entity. So complexity on top of a complexity gives us double complexity. So first of all, you have to understand you can invest in crypto, but you definitely need advice about the compliance side. And what is different about Easy Super? First of all, we started doing SMSFs and crypto in SMSFs in 2017 because personally I started investing in cryptocurrency in 2016. I'm still here, so I'm not a billionaire, so you can imagine. So it didn't go really well, but this is a different story. But I realized in 2017 that there are people out there who are interested in investing their superannuation in cryptocurrency, and people started approaching me and asking, oh, can I do it? And this is where we started assisting our clients or new clients to invest in cryptocurrency. And since then, we've seen it all. We've seen like different, because every cycle brings some new theme to it. So we remember NFT, for example, when it was like in fashion, like it's a new
Yes.
fashion in crypto, you know, like NFTs, meme coins. Or I remember the time when everyone was trying to find this one coin which will make them 1 million access. And yeah, so we've seen it all. I've seen clients doing bot trading in SMSS, and they would have like 2-3 million transactions per year because it's a bot trading, obviously. And imagine administering this type of complexity. Oh, that was a nightmare. So we've seen it all. We've seen all the complexity. And unfortunately, we also seen a lot of mistakes, especially when people, like I said, go and set up SMSF online, don't get any support, do
Yeah.
something which they didn't know they couldn't, and then they come to us and say, oops, I've done it. I can fix things, and I know how to work with ATO and how to resolve the issues. However, if it's done, it's done. I
Yes.
can't turn the time backwards. So, which is why we are big on education, because we don't want our clients to go through any hurdles. Or I want my clients to sleep at night. This is what I want. So this is why we are different. We are very big on, and we have a lot of experience with crypto clients, and we assist at with any level of complexity. And if there are issues, we can assist as well. We know what to do if you're in trouble with the ATO.
Okay, awesome. So Natalia, Clack's your go-to to get you out of a sticky situation.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are compliance consideration and hurdles when you're holding digital assets, right? So if you have set up your SMSF and you haven't been compliant and you need assistance, reach out to Natalia Clack at Easy Super. I'm sure she can probably point you in the right direction because there's auditing, valuations, and custodial requirements. Is there anything that you wanted specifically to touch on there, Natalia?
I think, like, yeah, from our perspective, we again at Easy Super, we are focusing on education and helping Australians to grow their wealth. And it doesn't have to be one asset class. So this is important to understand. Once you set up a SMSF, you have a freedom of choice to invest in different asset classes. And we are here to assist you, and educate you, and to make sure you stay compliant. But you have to decide what you want to do, what you want to do with your superannuation, how you want to grow your wealth. And if crypto is your go-to asset and you believe in it, then again, we are here to assist.
Yeah, I'm going to circle back to the different classes for SMSF, but I wanted to kind of finish off with the crypto. So are there specific types of crypto assets that are easier or more difficult to hold inside an SMSF? So like you mentioned, NFTs or different tokens or versus DeFi even. Are there assets that are easier or more difficult?
There are assets which are easier to administer. And
okay.
these are like top 10 coins, because obviously you can get the market value and it's easy to get a proof of existence. So yeah, top 10 coins, it's easier to administer. But at the same time, again, some people, they prefer the different projects and different options. Not every project would work for the SMSF. This is what you have to understand. I always tell my clients in regards to crypto, look, do whatever you want outside of SMSF. Go wild. Invest in different projects. I understand some people are very, very techy and crypto savvy. I get it. Go and do it outside of SMSF. Inside of SMSF, try to stay conservative.
Yeah.
Stick to the well-known coins if you can, of course. And don't do too much movement like buy, sell, swap. Again, without providing advice, buy and hold is the best and easiest strategies, which we love. We are like accountants and administrators, and auditors love as well, because it's easy to check, to prove, and to tick the box for the auditor as well. But again, it's up to you. We are here to support you.
Yeah, thanks. So I think that's a good segue to talk about the benefits of an SMSF and the risks of an SMSF. Now, you talked about, you have to be educated and you're in the driver's seat, but what are some of the biggest benefits that you see people achieve by moving into an SMSF, especially in terms of control and investment flexibility? And here I might ask you to talk about the different types. So the biggest benefits you see people achieve by moving into an SMSF in terms of flexibility.
Yeah, first of all, when people start understanding that they can do different things in SMSF, and they can invest in asset classes which they could never invest inside of the industry or retail superannuation fund. And for example, if someone wants to invest in particular, say, shares, right? Say you want to buy Facebook shares and you want to just invest in Facebook shares, you can invest. So you can control and decide even up to 100% to go to one asset, not even asset class, to one asset. So then we talk about cryptocurrency, of course. No way large superannuation funds will invest in cryptocurrency in the next maybe few years. And no way we will allocate a high percentage to cryptocurrency. At least at this stage, I don't see it's happening because of the risks. We understand. Maybe they will start investing. Maybe it will be 1 or 2%. But some people really believe in this asset class. Some people, they want to invest 90% of their super in this asset class, or 100% of their super in this asset class. This is where you can do it in SMSF. Then we talk about property. Of course, Australians, we love properties. We absolutely love properties. And because it's tangible, because it just everyone dreams about, not everyone, but a lot of Australians dream about properties. A lot of money, is in property and could be made in property as well. We all know the statistics for the last 50, 60 years. Properties performed really well. And again, it's an amazing asset class you can do in SMSF. But not only invest in property, you also can borrow in order to invest in property. So you don't have to have this 500,000 to buy a house as an investment property. Of course, you can have deposit of 20% and then borrow the rest. So there is option of borrowing in the SMSF, but only for the property. Don't think about borrowing against crypto. No, you cannot do it in the SMSF.
No, that's high risk. Only for property. Okay, guys?
Only for property, yeah. So just remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great information.
Yeah, and then another one I want to mention, which is on the rise as well, gold, silver, because again, physical gold, silver. We have a lot of clients investing, at least allocating some sort of like portion of their money into this asset class. Again, without providing you with financial advice, do your own research, but this is your freedom of choice.
Yeah, I think that's going to become more prominent, particularly like I woke up this morning and the market was down and, people are moving into gold and silver. But conversely, what are the key risks or things that people should be cautious about, particularly for individuals who might never, have that are newer to the investment or crypto?
Look, one of the biggest risks is a lack of education. I already talked about it, and I will keep telling it to everyone. The second the second thing is not only compliance education, but financial education. Look, get yourself educated on your finances. It's so important, especially not only for women, of course, but especially for women, because it's still traditionally very often that the husband makes all the financial decisions, knows what's going on, and the wife stays at home or doesn't participate as much as the husband in the financial decisions. It's changing, but it's still happening. Look, educate yourself. Doesn't matter how old you are. You can start when you're 60 or 70, or doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter what your background is or education. It's not about that. There is so much information out there. Don't jump on anything though, because we've seen a lot of scams, of course, going on. A lot of not good providers out there. But do your own research without jumping into anything. Do your own research. Do your own education. Listen to podcasts like this one. Go and talk to the specialists. But definitely get you up to speed, because you know what? If you don't get yourself educated, no one else will look after your finances. Not the government, not your accountant, not even your financial advisor, to be honest. Because it's their job to provide you with advice, but it's your job to provide you with knowledge to grow your wealth.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
that's on you.
It is. Can you walk us through an example of how someone might structure an SMSF portfolio? And by no means, again, this is not financial advice, but just how someone, might, if they're new to SMSF, how they might look at structuring their portfolio with both traditional assets and crypto exposure.
Look, what usually happens, and again, like, I don't want to provide any financial advice here. What usually happens, people start SMSF because they have one asset class in mind. Say, for example, they heard about the property, they really cannot afford to buy investment property outside of superannuation fund, and then they hear from someone, oh, you can buy property in SMSF and you can borrow and you can combine, husband and wife can combine their superannuation together and have one SMSF. And they start with the property, for example, and then obviously, because their superannuation fund will be growing because of the compulsory superannuation guarantee contributions coming every 2 weeks or every month. By the way, from 1st of July, it's going to be whenever you get paid, your employer has to pay you superannuation guarantee contributions on the same day. So just be aware about it. Not after 3 months, but when you're getting paid, superannuation contributions have to be paid as well on the same day. So basically, you have your superannuation balances growing because 12% is a compulsory superannuation guarantee contributions. Yes. And people start looking elsewhere. They start, okay, we already have this asset class, say property or cryptocurrency. How about we will diversify and invest in something else? And then this is where, again, they get yourself a little bit more educated and also comfortable. Because when you start your SMSF, when people start and they usually feel a little bit scared, uncertain, or how it's going to work. What if I press the wrong button? You don't have to press any buttons, by the way. So that's, this is where, and then they get comfortable. And then they get more education, and then they get more research, and then they say, look, I want to do something else. And also when they see that they make a difference, when they see that the investment is growing and the balance is growing every year, they get excited and they gain, they get really more into their own finances, because you know what I mean. It's like encouragement to look after themselves, because when your money, when your superannuation is with someone somewhere, someone looks after it, you're not very interested. Why would I educate myself on finances or listen the financial podcast and learn about it when someone else is managing it? But when it's in your own hands, so you are actually encouraged to do something about it, to do something about your knowledge and educate yourself. So I found actually it's very interesting. So it's like a journey for a lot of people, and I love it again because I love empowering Australians to grow their wealth. Like I said, you know, I came here with nothing, with credit card. Actually, I didn't have a credit card, but I had a $10,000. I had $10,000 on my debit card. No one would give me a credit card back then. So, and I did live below the poverty line for like a few years when I came to Australia. And I don't want to go back to it when I'm older because I'm not getting any inheritance or anything. So I really personally feel for a lot of Australians, because I'm exactly in a similar boat with no inheritance, with no rich parents, no handouts from anyone. So I just have to make it myself.
Yeah, I think they're great points. And whether you've come from that or not, it is exciting to see your wealth grow. And there's a lot of people in the same boat, really,
Yes.
honestly. But what are some of the common mistakes, Natalia, that you see SMSF trustees make, especially those integrating digital assets? And I think we've already talked about how we can kind of be avoided, but what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen?
One of the common mistake is that people think, oh, I've got some coin in my cold wallet. I will set up SMSF and I'll just move this coin to my SMSF.
Right.
Unfortunately, you cannot do it. So you cannot move your personal coins into SMSF. You need to sell them, and you cannot sell it to your SMSF because SMSF cannot buy from the related party. It's one of the rules, unless it's a commercial property or shares. SMSF cannot buy from the related party. So what you'll need to do, you'll need to sell it. Say you have Bitcoin, just for the sake of it. You have to sell this Bitcoin on exchange, and then SMSF has to buy it from the exchange or from the broker, depending, like, obviously where you want to buy it from. So that's, like, that's one of the biggest misconception, and this is, we've seen people do it over and over again. And then the second one is a mixing personal coins and SMSF coins. Again, people just buy one wallet and they think, I just open the second account not open, but create a second account in the wallet, and one account is for my personal coins and now one for SMSF. No, you have to have a physically separate cold wallet. So there are things like that, which is very subtle. You wouldn't guess. You would think, what's the difference? But they make a huge difference when it gets to the audit of SMSF. Because
I think that's a really
good... Sorry?
No, sorry, you were going to say about the auditor?
No, the auditors are very particular because the auditor standards are very strict, and without understanding it, it's very easy to make mistake as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good point about the cold storage, and that I learned something today about that you need two separate cold storages. But I guess thank you for walking us through all of that. And I guess for me, I wanted to go through what would be your advice and next steps for those that are considering an SMSF. Obviously, you've talked about education, but if you could talk about what resources or next steps you would recommend, especially for beginners, who this might be completely overwhelming, or maybe it's been on someone's mind for a long time, Natalia, and they just haven't got to it. So if you could, make some recommendations on the next steps,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a social media. We have like YouTube channel. We have Instagram, Super with Natalia. This is our Instagram profile. And we also hold the regular webinars. I try to explain everything in a very simple language so people can understand. So the second place you can go is the ATO portal. So there is a lot of information on the ATO portal, and they also try to make it very, very simple to understand. They also have videos there, again, very short videos, very, very entertaining. The only thing is, obviously, you will spend a lot of time on the ATO portal because there are tens or even hundreds of pages about SMSF. So which is why when we set up SMSF, we have this workshop where in a concentrated version, we spit out all the rules you need to know about SMSF. But, if you like reading ATO and watching the small short videos, ATO portal is a great source. I wouldn't ask ChatGPT. Please don't do it. It's still hallucinating. I know that there are billions of dollars invested in ChatGPT and it's improving. It's still hallucinating because everyone puts information in the in a ChatGPT, and ChatGPT just goes through all the information out there, which sometimes is not correct, not correct.
Yeah.
So don't ask ChatGPT because it's like 50-50, and you don't know which 50 like to take and trust, and which 50 you should just not trust. So this is what I recommend you doing. So once you get yourself a little bit familiar and once you make this decision, yeah, I want to do it, you can book a session with myself, the short session, 10 minutes. I offer free consultations without going in your particular circumstances. You can discuss, if you have any questions, again, without providing you with a consultation, because I can't do it in a matter of 10 minutes, but you definitely can ask me questions if you have a burning question. And then we can definitely assist you setting up a SMSF and stay compliant in your SMSF.
Yeah, staying compliant is important, particularly as we move with Treasury and ASIC around compliance. But so I've got a question from the audience, Natalia. The question is, what tax considerations should I be aware of when selling crypto inside an SMSF?
Oh, this is a great question we didn't actually touch, but it's one of the most important because we were focusing on the compliance. But you have to understand why people want to set up SMSF. One of the main reasons, you pay a very little tax compared to the other entities outside of SMSF or compared to your personal tax. Maximum tax you pay is 15%. And then if you hold the asset for more than 12 months, you're paying 10% capital gain tax. And it gets better when you get older. So whenever people call me and say, oh, I'm like 60, I say, oh, that's so exciting because you can pay potentially, you can pay zero tax in the SMSF. So when you get older and retire, you have to reach the age of 60 though. Potentially, you can pay zero tax in self-managed superannuation fund. What it means for you, you buy cryptocurrency, you invest in cryptocurrency inside of SMSF, you hold this cryptocurrency for a few years, and you sell it after you move to the pension. We call it pension phase. You have to reach the age of 60, remember. And then you pay zero tax. The same with property. You buy property when you're 25, you hold the property until you're 60 or 65, you sell it then. Property went up 5 times, 10 times, doesn't matter, you pay zero tax. There are limitations, of course, it's more technical, but as a general observation about tax and SMSF, so it means you don't have to move to Dubai to pay zero tax. You can do it in Australia legally.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks. I've talked a lot about Dubai with people in my community recently. I have another question here. So I know that we already touched on cold wallet, custody, but the question is, how do I prove ownership and secure crypto within an SMSF? Do I need a specific? So the question is, do I need a specific type of wallet or custodian?
No, you don't need to have a specific type of wallet or custodian. It's all about providing the proof. And we work with the auditor who understands crypto. This is a very important. So your accountant works with the auditor who understands cryptocurrency. If the auditor doesn't understand crypto, forget about it. And doesn't want to learn. This is the other thing. There are a lot of auditors, they don't want to learn. They're just against crypto. But you can pick your wallet, and your accountant should be able to prove to the auditor the existence of the crypto and the security of the wallet. We would require, of course, the public address. We would require the screenshots at 30th of June. We would require a screenshot, current screenshots. And so the auditor could go and check. They could go online and check, for example, the existence of the cryptocurrency. But also we provide a very thorough trustee declarations. We have 3 or 4 very thorough trustee declarations where, as a trustee, you have to sign these trustee declarations saying and confirming the risk, the existence, the market value, everything is in the trustee declarations. So the auditor can sleep at night as well when they sign up on your audit report.
Yeah, thank you. And I have one more question that's just come through from the audience. Are there any limits in terms of crypto and buying inside your SMSF? Are there any limits?
No, there is no limits. There are 2 things you need to understand. You need to read your trust deed. Your trust deed must allow crypto in SMSF. Some trust deeds are inclusive, some trust deeds are exclusive. So you have to read your trust deed. We set up SMSF, of course, with trust deed, which allows crypto. And the second one, investment strategy. It's the second most important document in SMSF is your investment strategy. You have to, in your investment strategy, you have to mention the risk, you have to mention the diversification. And if you want to invest 100% in, say, cryptocurrency, and especially in particular cryptocurrency, you need to explain in your investment strategy why you're doing it. But there is no prohibition. There is no such rule that you must diversify. But you must consider diversification. That's a difference.
Thank you. And I guess my final question for today is, now I know that we've had huge growth in Australia with SMSF. You can talk the numbers, I can't. But where do you see SMSF evolving in the next 5 years? And I guess particularly in the context of blockchain, DeFi, and emerging financial technologies.
SMSF is definitely growing. Actually, it's like 41,000 SMSFs were set up last year. Sorry, growth was 41,000. So it's a net between the winding up and setting up. So, and it's going to grow, and cryptocurrency is the fastest growing asset in SMSFs. So I personally believe that cryptocurrency and the other alternative assets like gold, silver, private credit, they definitely will become, they will dominate in the next 5-10 years. And the reason is because the traditional investments don't provide enough return to keep up with inflation, and don't provide enough return for people to be confident about their old age, all the years. So that's the thing. You think, when I'm 80, I still want to have enough to support my lifestyle, and I don't want to have a lifestyle of the vegetable, especially with development of AI-driven anti-aging medicine now. They're
Of
saying that
course.
people are going to live until, yeah, people are going to live until 100 and actually like live the full life, not like being a vegetable and sit, like in the nursing home. This
Yeah.
is where you don't need money apart from the nursing home, but technically, like it's not that expensive to live when you have limited abilities. But people actually are going to travel and wanting to do things and have the energy. Think about it. And then if you retire at 65, you have to make sure your money will last you until maybe 100 now. So we have to prepare for all these exciting years. And it means we have to look after, again, finances. And 5 or 7% return, like traditional finance provide, like shares, doesn't cut anymore.
Yes.
Doesn't cut for most
Agreed.
of people. They say, I can't see myself living on my superannuation and retiring and having a decent lifestyle. So
Yeah.
unless you're rich or really wealthy, but it's not a high percentage of Australians are in this boat.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your, where your insight into where you see it evolving. I agree, and I think you made some very valid points. But I wanted to thank you so much, Natalia, for breaking down everything so clearly today. It's been incredibly valuable for anyone who's thinking about taking control of their retirement savings, especially in this emerging digital economy. And for those that are tuning in, Easy Super is easysuper.com. You can find Natalia.
No, .au.
.com.au.
No,
My
no, no, don't .com. Sorry, easysuper.au.
Easysuper.au.
And don't
Um,
go to eSuperFund. eSuperFund is the worst provider on the market. Anti-advertising, because I have so many clients coming from them with issues. But when you Google, you might see the eSuperFund. We are not eSuperFund. We are
Easy
easysuper.au.
Super. Easy. EASY Super.
Mm.
And I wanted to say Natalia will be attending the XRP Australia event in Sydney, which Wave of Innovation is hosting. And I'm sure that she would be more than happy to connect with you and have a conversation with you there. And Natalia, I'm looking forward to seeing you again in Sydney at XRP Australia at the Crown in Sydney. So thank you again so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. It was an absolute pleasure. It was a great first one for 2026 and a great live stream to do, out of the gate for 2026, but also I haven't done one for quite a few months. So it was absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in Sydney.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much for inviting me. And it was my pleasure to share my knowledge and insights into SMSS.
Yeah, thanks. All right,
Thank you.
until Sydney in a few weeks. Thanks,
See you.
Natalia.
See you then. Thank
Okay,
you. Bye.
bye.